afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokumlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and Telesol 4G, Just a Touch. Coming up, highly placed government sources confirm arrest and detention of Men's Go Chief Executive Nana Mensa, even though conflicting reports says otherwise.
Well, what we know from multiple sources, some within the security agencies, is that indeed he has been arrested, and this happened some time back. What is clear in all of that is that he is currently under arrest in Dubai.
We have detailed information that may put the speculations to rest today, and we'll hear from a legal expert on the extradition process.
If the bail condition is getting there, allows him to come to Ghana, then it means that we are about 50% through the extradition proceedings. If the bail conditions there do not allow him to leave Dubai, we may not have him here in Ghana until they are through with that process.
Also, police in Tema arrest houseboy of marketing manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority stabbed to death at her residence.
We have invited the homicide squad from the police headquarters to assist with investigation. They are experts in murder cases.
We'll get a live update from our reporter on the ground. Also, Ghana Education Service to deal ruthlessly with heads of schools who flout new directive on suspension of PTA levies.
The schools have children who are 18 years and above, and they vote. And in our time in office, we allowed the opposition to go into the schools, because they are voters in the schools. But that is the problem with MPP. They are highly intolerant.
We'll get to hear later from the PRO of the service as she explains the management's plan to sanction heads who go contrary to this directive. Also, American family drills mechanized borehole for residents of Mafi Akukokpo after joining news story highlighting how people there consumed what we dubbed the world's dirtiest water.
I was really passionate about helping the spread of infectious disease in Ghana in particular. And when I heard about this situation here through the news, I thought this was the first and easiest way to help.
And in sports,
Asante Kotoko CK Economics is focused on the job despite pressure from fans after winning their game against Cotton Sport on Sunday.
And later in the bulletin, we'll show you how to spot telltale signs the investment you are getting into is a Ponzi scheme.
If you can't pay Paul without robbing Peter, then you are Ponzi.
We have all that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And in our very first story, highly placed sources have confirmed the arrest and detention of Men's Go Chief Executive Nana Mensa. This comes in the wake of conflicting media reports about the whereabouts of Ghana's most wanted man. The latest was that Namwan had been arrested in Dubai over a botched gold transaction far different from any Men's Gold related issue. Meanwhile, there are those who are also speculating that the money doubler was calling the shots and diffusing tensions in Ghana from his hideout. Even as the stories of his whereabouts continue to trickle in, authorities have remained tight-lipped, leaving the public to continue speculating. Well, or would it at this point, the question about where Namwan is, will that question still be valid? Joy News editor Fred Smith joins me in the studio for some details on that. Fred, you've been trying to get some information from your sources in the security agencies. Up until now, what have you been able to pick up?
MFA, we're now receiving more information on the news of Namwan's arrest and detention from very reliable sources. Government spokespersons are yet to make any public comment on the matter. But in the last hour, we've confirmed Nana Mensa, also known as Namwan, is in detention in Dubai, and this is from highly placed security sources. What we have not been able to establish is when he was picked up. We do understand that sometime last week, his father, Chairman Bute, filed a complaint at Iyoko against two men whose names we have as Ade, a Nigerian national, and Charles, a Ghanaian, who is also known as Chairman. These men are thought to be the joint owners of Just Gold, the company which is alleged to have collected money in excess of $50 million from the Dubai-based Horizon Royal Diamonds, DMCC, but failed to supply the gold as promised. Now, Nana Mensa we know is not responsible for this, but since he introduced the two men to the Dubai company, he's being held responsible. Meanwhile, Nam1 is also said to have supplied gold worth nearly $40 million to Horizon in Dubai. It is this money he was going for which resulted in his arrest, according to our sources. The understanding is that government, despite being tight-lipped so far, has now received sufficient information, and a government statement is expected on the development later today. And we do know that the Information Ministry is expected to release a statement today.
But you've been digging to get information also from Dubai. What have they also been telling you?
Well, the Dubai officials are yet to make any comment on this matter, presumably because they want to send this information to our government.
Interesting. But we're working our sources at the CID headquarters, and we're told that Interpol has also been alerted to find out whether indeed this arrest has been effected. 3 alerts have been sent. They are yet to get a response. We are still following that to be able to get more information. As and when we get it, we'll definitely give it to you. But if indeed it is true that Nam1 has been arrested in Dubai, what happens to Ghana's search for him? Law lecturer at the Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, Justice Remsai, has been giving some clarification on this matter.
Since they are looking for him, Ghana would take this opportunity to kickstart its extradition proceedings with the United Arab Emirates, where Dubai is. Now, what may happen is that Ghana may make a formal request for him to be sent back to Ghana. But that request, if accepted, he would have to be processed in court. In court, these are some of the things that will come up. The state prosecution, which is currently handling him for a crime which he is suspected to have committed in Dubai, would have to make a case before the court whether they are willing or whether he is free to go. In other words, if the bail condition is getting there, allows him to come to Ghana, then it means that we are about 50% through the extradition proceedings and through having him here in Ghana. Now, the other scenario is, how about if the bail conditions there do not allow him to leave Dubai until the matter for which he has been arrested is fully determined? What that also means is that irrespective of whatever request Ghana may make to United Arab Emirates, we may not have him here in Ghana until and unless they are through with that process.
You have a law lecturer, Justice Sremsai, on that extradition. But away from this issue, police in Tema have arrested the houseboy of the marketing manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority after she was found stabbed and killed at her home. The houseboy told police he saw a strange man escaping from the compound around 1 a.m. on Sunday. In an interview with Joy News, a public relations officer of the Tema Region Police, DSP Joseph Benefo-Dakwa, stated investigators identified some assault marks on the body of the woman. She was allegedly attacked after she returned home from a senior staff party in the early hours of Sunday.
Yes, according to him, Madam went out and came around 1:32 p.m. And that's where he saw somebody running out from the house.
Okay, 1:32 a.m., that was in the morning?
In the morning. That's
okay.
Yesterday in the morning.
Okay.
He went out the previous night, that's Saturday, and came in the morning, that's Sunday morning.
Okay, so you've picked up the houseboy now, and what are you doing? Are you interrogating him? Or
Sure, he's assisting with investigation. And we've commenced investigation. We have invited the homicide squad from the police headquarters to assist with investigation. They are experts in murder cases.
You have DSP Joseph Benefo-Dakwa there speaking to my colleague Maxwell Agbagba. We'll be joining Maxwell Agbagba shortly. But on to our very first story. In a related development, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, is asking government to show more interest in retrieving the monies of these customers. He's also proposing a second look at banking regulations to avoid Ponzi schemes in the country.
There was the wind of change blowing, and everybody in the MPP, which is seen to be the incoming government, believes that NDC is wrong in dissolving these schemes. And so this coincided with efforts by the managers of the Ponzi scheme that the NDC government is just giving them trouble. Vote them out and you get the chance to continue the operation. So when the MPP government is now saying that government gave warnings and these warnings were ignored, they were ignored at the promptings of MPP, the conduct of senior MPP people.
You heard there, Johnson Asiedun Ketia. Will definitely be going to Tema shortly also to join my colleague Maxwell Agbagba, who is following the death of the marketing manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, with the latest being the houseboy of the house being arrested by the police in Tema. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, Queen Mother of Alavanyo in the Volta region, Mamaga Ameto II, is disputing claims by the police that the youth of the area were engaged in a shootout with the military. A joint force of police and military personnel is reported to have shot and killed 2 young men in Alavanyo, Jogbede, and injured several others. Information reaching Joy News indicates that the police had gone to Alavanyo, Jogbede to arrest 2 people when some youth shot at them. DCOP Francis Doku is the Volta Regional Police Commander. He's been speaking to Kojo Yankson on the AM show on Multi TV.
The people had wind that the police were coming around, and so they tackled the police. In the process, there was a scaffold, and so the police decided to come back later to retrieve the arm, because in the heat of that confusion, police wanted to go ahead with a search for the rifle. And so a report was made to the Kwando Divisional Police Headquarters. As negotiation was going on, the youth switched off electricity supply to their town. And so it was so dark that we could not see anything. And as the military was retreating base, the people started shooting towards the direction of them. In the process, the military returned fire. And the information we have is that 2 people are dead. 6 have been admitted at the Market Hospital in Pandu.
So these 2 were killed by the military?
I told you there was a crossfire. People were shooting from the mountains towards town. The military had to return fire from the direction that the shooting was coming from. And so for now, it is not confirmed whether the 2 dead were fired at by the military or the other group.
So you have the DCOP Francis Doku is the Volta Regional Police Commander, but the Queen Mother of the area, Mamaga Ameto, is calling on the police to come clean on the matter. She's disputing the claims. We'll get to hear from her, as well as our correspondent Fred Kwame Asare, who is on that beat, will join us shortly. But let's return to Tema and join my colleague Maxwell Agbagba, who was the very latest on the killing of the marketing manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. So Maxwell, you were the resident of the deceased. That's a gated community in Tema. What did you find? It doesn't look like we have Maxwell Agbagba on the phone. We'll be working the lines and get Maxwell Agbagba as well as Fred Kwame Asare on the line for the latest on these 2 stories. Maxwell Agbagba has been visiting and interacting with the police on the killing or the murder of the marketing manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. We'll be getting the very latest, because we know that the houseboy has been picked up. So we'll go on to some other stories, and we will stay or go back to the Volta region, because an American family has built a mechanized borehole for residents of Mafi Akukokbo, following a Joy News story highlighting how lack of water forced people there to drink from a dirty stream. Many of the residents contracted various waterborne diseases, but 4 months after Joy News highlighted the plight of the community, a U.S. family has intervened and dug a borehole for them. Joseph Opoku Gakbo has more.
This is how the water looks like. Unclean, brownish, muddy, as thick as porridge. Sticks and tree branches lie in them with bubbles brewing all over it. But guess what? They drink it like that, without any form of treatment.
It was basically saying that they use it to cook, they drink it, do everything with only this water.
Excerpts there of the story Joy News told from Mafia Kokokbo in September last year. A lot of interventions followed. The district assembly distributed sachet water to the community, and an association donated a water storage tank to them. Now more water is flowing. Jessica Jar from Boston in the USA saw the video after it went viral on social media and was moved.
I was really passionate about helping the spread of infectious disease in Ghana in particular. And when I heard about the situation here through the news, I thought this was the first and easiest way to help.
She and her family members contributed money to construct a mechanized borehole for the community, working through the Amazing Grace Foundation.
When I actually saw that video, I was very disturbed by it, and I was talking to Jessica over the weeks, and I sent her that video, and right away she said, I want to adopt this project and I want to build a borehole project.
Felicia, who was featured in the earlier story, says residents are happy they will no longer suffer from diseases through the consumption of contaminated water.
The difference is that you're not going to sick again. It will help us because we are not going to be late before going to school.
As you can see, everybody is happy. So we pledge and we promise that we will maintain this borehole and keep it very well.
MP for the area, Alexander Hotojem, says the community needs more such interventions.
This particular water problem is not peculiar to only Akukokpo. So Akukokpo as one of them is normal. I mean, in our area is normal. So I am grateful. Our people have gotten very good water.
After many years without water, now Mafia Kokokpo has clean water flowing, much to the delight of residents.
If you wake up today and the people of Mafia Kokokpo are enjoying potable water, then it tells you the role of the multimedia and the media as a whole in development cannot be overemphasized.
Multimedia, where is Gakpo? Thank you so much. You have been so great in our lives.
We can only say a big thank you to our listeners for your prompt response to our stories. Now, it's a looming disaster. That's what commuters and residents around the Jolu end of the N1 stretch have described the footbridge, which is nearly falling apart because the center portion of the bridge appears to have shifted from its position. The metal and block patches dislodged from one another. Commuters say long vehicles, heavily overloaded, constantly crash into the bridge, causing the danger. Komladong visited the area, and here's what he found.
Dislodged metal parts, shifted concrete slabs, and deep cracks. That is what you'd see when you get to the footbridge at Noga Hill on the N1 highway, not far from the Fiesta Royale Hotel.
Looking at the situation now, I think over time that means it's going to push further, and so I just suggest that if the government officials can just come in or probably set a height limit up here so that at least it can restrict some long vehicles from passing under this footbridge.
Commuters and residents here attribute the cracks to overloaded trailers constantly crashing into the footbridge.
Sometimes I have my fashion, but we say na shift kakra. Ni na free heavy trucks no. So on fa bulldozer no way na forklift no. Na so on fast na ye long too much. Na aye way can bridge no. Nti na ma e this infection ni na ba ahase no.
Beverly, who lives around here, noticed this a couple of days ago.
The low beds that load stuff for if they hit their stuff, it hits. So they have to sometimes park and then remove some off and then pass over. Some of them too, they find their way through. They push, try and move and then escape it. So it hits. You see, as it hits, it cracks. It brings little cracks in it on the footbridge. So sometimes when you're walking and we see the low beds, you have to wait for them to pass because once they hit, it shakes. It gives a little shake on the over.
She's just one of more than 15 people who used the bridge while we were filming for this story. Residents are unanimous in their belief that the absence of a height limit signage on or close to the footbridge is to blame.
Like this major crack like this is very dangerous. If something is not done, it might cause a lot of problems here.
This crack here is due to the heavy-duty vehicles and trailers who constantly crash into the footbridge. Sometimes when they pass under the bridge, it vibrates. But beneath the bridge itself, fresh concrete chippings have fallen off the top of the bridge. Well, as dangerous as this may be, commuters have very little by way of options if they have to cross the highway from one end to another. And the absence of a height limit means the trailers and long vehicles will continue to crash into the bridge, like this one nearly did while we were still at the site.
You have there Komla Adum's report. Meanwhile, the Ghana Highway Authority has assured a contractor is presently mobilizing to execute repair works on the footbridge and says its current state poses no risk to public safety. Dinah Siade is Public Relations Officer for the authority.
A vehicle hit the bridge and it left the deck by a few centimeters. That is what happened, and we are going to work on it. The contractor is moving to site. We are already aware since that Thursday, so we finished the plans to go and do the repair work on it. So that's the state of the bridge now, and that's what we're trying to do to solve that problem.
You heard that Dinah Siade, she speaks for the Ghana Highways Authority. Let's head back to Alavanyo in the Volta region. And Fred Kwame Asare joins us. We've been hearing that the Queen Mother of the area is disputing claims by the police that the youth of the area were engaged in a shootout with the military that led to 2 persons being killed and several others being injured. So, Fred, you've been following this story. What really is the concern of the Queen Mother? She's been disputing the claims by the police. What does she know?
Hello, come again with the question.
I'm asking what the Queen Mother knows. She's been disputing the claims of the police.
Let me say that according to, I didn't speak to the Queen Mother per se, but then I spoke to one Chami Komladai of the Alavanyo Jogbeje. And then what he told me was that the police team were here yesterday at about 2 p.m. on Sunday and then made their way into the bush. The community elders immediately expressed displeasure at their visit because they failed to inform the chief of their intended operations in the area. Now, after some few minutes, they noticed that there was a fire burning from where the police had gone to. Mm-hmm. The youth quickly mobilized themselves and then rushed to the area and realized some farms were set ablaze. A rice and a maize farm, I am told, were set ablaze. And then also 2 of their friends or their youth were arrested for reasons not known to them. Now, the youth in Alavanyo Jogbeje then rest of their 2 colleagues from the police demanding that they don't know why they are arrested. These 2 who were taken away from the police had handcuffs on them, so they made away with the handcuffs. The police team left, but then came back to report to the community elders that their handcuff had gone missing, and then promising that whoever is in possession of the handcuff will be dealt with severely. They had left and then again came back with an reinforced military team. This time around, they said a gun had gone missing and that they are looking for the gun, and then they told the chief to do whatever he can to ensure they see the gun. Now, as they were about leaving, there were some warning shots. They gave some warning shots. The chairman told me they later directed gunshots at the crowd which had gathered at the roadside. This led to the death of one Kofi, and then Kofi Atta, and also.
So we are told their bodies are still lying in the town. Is that the case?
Yeah, the bodies are still here in the town in Alavanyo Jogbeje, right opposite the chief's palace. The community members are saying that they are not responsible for the death of the 2. The police, it was the police who shot them down, so the police should also come for their bodies. The elders reported the case at the Pando police station, but then the explanation the police gave them was that there is high tension in the area and that they can't come for the bodies. If it should be good, or if the community members can convey the bodies to the morgue and then they also continue with their investigations, it will be good. But then the community members also explained that the youth in the area who are responsible to transfer the body to the morgue are saying they can't or they will not touch the bodies. Reasons being that the police are in charge of that, or that is the mandate of the police. And then also I should add that the paramount chief, that is Togbe Atokura, was in the area to speak to the youth, to calm them down, and then tell them that they should allow the police to come and pick the bodies and then continue with their investigation.
Fred Kwame Asare, the Volta regional correspondent, bringing us up to speed on that Alavanyo situation. We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. Our top stories so far: highly placed government sources confirm arrest and detention of Mensco Chief Executive Nana Mensah, even though conflicting reports says otherwise. Also, police in Tema arrest houseboy of marketing manager at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority staff to death at her residence. When we return, the Ghana Education Service is to deal ruthlessly with heads of schools who flout new directive on suspension of PTA levies.
A head decided to go contrary. Then, of course, the head, himself or herself has decided to not to hold the school again.
We'll get to hear from the PR of the service as she explains the management's plan to sanction heads who go contrary to this directive. And later in the bulletin, we'll show you how to spot telltale signs the investment you are getting into is a Ponzi scheme.
If you can't pay Paul without robbing Peter, then you're a Ponzi.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Let's do sports now. Benedict Owusu joins us with the very latest. Benedict?
Yes, my friend. Last weekend, after their 1-1 draw with Ashanti Gold in the JA Kofor Cup, some fans called for his exit. That's Kumasi Asante Kotoko coach CK Akono. Yesterday, he led the side to beat Cotton Sport of Cameroon 3-2 in a CAF Confederation Cup playoff game. CK insists he's focused on the job.
From the beginning of our campaign, and people are not too happy sometimes the way we play, but I think the spirit goes on. The boys have shown good character, great character today. I'm proud of them, and I'm focusing on the job. A return leg at the Baba Yara Stadium in just 6 days' time. Definitely, that was not going to be easy. The fact that we came here and we were able to play well, I don't think they will just come and let us go. It's going to be tough, but we will have to prepare for that match.
That's Asante Kotoko coach CK Akono. Second leg to come in Kumasi next Sunday, and ahead of that, the Asante Kotoko management want the fans to paint the Garden City red. Well, there is an English Premier League game later tonight. That's Manchester City up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. That will be played at the Etihad Stadium. After Liverpool winning against Brighton and opening a 7-point lead, City definitely will be hoping to close the gap by winning that game tonight. And also, we've got some Australian Open update, and Mario on the verge of retirement after Australian Open lost to Roberto Bautista, and this is how it happened. It was a thrilling game that ended some few minutes ago. 6-4, 6-4, 7-6, 7-6-7, 6-2 defeat to Roberto, and the 31-year-old admitted that if he struggled against Bautista, then that could be the final straw. So we definitely will bring you more. You have to join us at 1. We have a sports track here with Gary Smith.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Now, the Ghana Education Service is warning it will sack heads of senior high schools and technical and vocational institutions who meddle in PT activities. This comes as the GAS suspends the collection of levies under the auspices of the Parent-Teacher Association in all public senior high schools and technical and vocational schools. We can hear from Public Relations Officer of the GAS, Cassandra Chum Ampofo.
This is a second directive. We are suspending the use, and so if a head decides to go contrary, well, then of course the head himself or herself has decided to not to hold the school again, because it's so simple that your directors or the management of GES, people that you work under, are giving you this directive, are asking you not to do this, and if you want to do otherwise, then of course.
You heard there the PR of the Ghana Education Service, Cassandra Chum Ampofo. Let's move to the northern region, where a traditional act of moving bees along the streets of the town, abandoned for 40 years, is being revived in Yendi today. This forms part of the final funeral rites for the late overlord of Dagbon, Yana Yakubu Andani II. The chief of Kumbungu traditional area, Alhaji Na Abu Idris II, will also begin his journey to the Dagbon capital for the final funeral rites. He would be moving with the traditional bees, that's the logo, which must not be seen by pregnant women. Also, all businesses along the Tamale Kumbungu Road must remain closed until the Kumbung passes. Let's get more updates from Hashmin Mohammed, who is on the ground with more details. So, Hashmin, how are the residents responding to the reenactment of this 40-year-old tradition? Hello, Hashmin.
Hello, Erica.
So, I'm asking about how residents are responding to the reenactment of this 40-year-old tradition.
Well, hundreds of residents have lined up the street from Tamale to Kumbogo. At the moment, we have just left Kumbogo, and Kumbogo now is on a royal regalia, and his entourage are holding bows and arrows. At the moment, they have made a stopover for him to rest before they will continue their journey.
So yeah, the Hashmin Mohammed will definitely get more of that rather interesting traditional rites there in the northern region. Now, the men's gold scandal has brought to the fore the issue of Ponzi schemes, which have from time to time reared its ugly head in the country. The fraudulent operations of Piram and R5 finance companies in the 1980s led to many people losing their lifetime savings while chasing attractive interest rates of 50% and over. In this report, Raymond Akwa takes us through how we can identify a Ponzi scheme and hopefully avoid it.
It is named after Charles Ponzi, who became infamous for running such an operation in Boston in the 1920s. To avoid being a victim yourself, these are some red flags to spot one before it's too late. 1. Ponzi schemes usually offer abnormally high guaranteed returns of more than 10% or more every month. 2. They have a vague business model and mostly tell you their investment process is confidential. As MD of Fidelity Bank, Julian Oponi explains, it's unlike usual banking.
Now that's different from standard banking, which is about financial intermediation, where what you're meant to be doing is you invest a certain amount of capital to create an infrastructure. And the infrastructure is meant to go to the part of the society that has an excess of resources and wants to deploy it in a certain way that they can get, an appreciable return.
3. Most Ponzi schemes investment products are usually based in places far away from where they raised funds. Lawyer Isankuma explains.
So if there's this gold, mythical gold, that is trading and bringing money on an exchange we do not know about, in a country we do not know about, and you refuse to submit your documents to the SEC to vet, to even decide whether your scheme can be licensed. And so if your business is not robbing Peter to pay Paul, don't rob Peter, pay Paul. Now, if you can't pay Paul without robbing Peter, then you are Ponzi.
There you have it. How to identify if it's a Ponzi scheme. Don't let greed lead you. But what's trending on social media? Maps has the very latest. What are people talking about on a Monday?
Hashtag SM for life is trending, and at Ellie Rockty says the virus is spreading and has no cure. Hashtag rain. Hashtag SM for life. At Andrew Zig says, in Shutter Movement, we don't steal other people's tag. Just because it looks like ours, we just set our own trend and push it to the top. Hashtag SM for life. Also, people are talking about Monday motivation and are grateful for waking up today.
That's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There is more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com, and later, of course, we'll give you more on the whereabouts of Nana Apia Mensah. I am Emefa Apau. Have a good afternoon.